First contact and misunderstanding. The ESS Horizon drifted silently through the void, its sleek form barely visible against the backdrop of distant stars. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the massive viewscreen that dominated the forward wall. The Horizon had been dispatched as humanity's vanguard into this unexplored sector of space, carrying scientists and explorers rather than soldiers. Dropping out of FTL in 3, 2, 1, announced Navigator Kai Chen, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface before him. The stars blurred as the ship's exotic matter drive disengaged, returning them to normal space with a gentle shudder. Elena's breath caught in her throat as the viewscreen adjusted to reveal what waited for them. "My God," whispered Dr. Amara Singh, the chief cynobiologist. That's a lot of ships." Spread before them, in an intimidating formation, were hundreds of vessels of varying sizes and designs. Some gleamed like polished metal, while others seemed to absorb light, creating dark silhouettes against the stars. The formation was unmistakably defensive, or perhaps offensive. "Tactical assessment," Elena demanded, her voice steady despite the sudden acceleration of her pulse. Lieutenant Commander Darrell Washington responded immediately from his station. "I count at least 7 different ship designs, Captain. Varying energy signatures. All of them appear to be military vessels, and all of them outgun us significantly." He paused. "Their weapons are powered but not targeting us. Yet." Elena nodded, processing this information. The Horizon was primarily a research vessel with limited defensive capabilities. It had been designed for scientific exploration, not warfare. If these aliens decided to attack, there would be little they could do. "Are they communicating?" she asked the communications officer. Ensign Jabari Okafor adjusted his neural interface. "They're transmitting something, Captain. The AI is working on translation. I think it's a greeting, or possibly a warning." "Put it through," Elena ordered. The view screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It had a vaguely crustacean appearance with 4 compound eyes set around a central structure that might have been a mouth. Iridescent plates covered what was visible of its body, shifting colors as it moved. "Unidentified vessel," came the translated voice, the AI doing its best to match the alien's speech patterns. "You have entered protected space. Identify yourselves and state your purpose. Where is the rest of your fleet?" Elena straightened her uniform and stepped forward. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Science Ship Horizon. We are an exploration vessel on a peaceful mission of discovery. We have no fleet." There was a pause as the translation went through. The alien's plates shifted rapidly, displaying patterns that might have indicated confusion. "No fleet," the alien repeated. "Our intelligence indicates humans always travel in battle groups for invasion purposes. You claim to be alone." Elena exchanged a puzzled glance with her first officer, Commander Marcus Wong. "We are alone. The Horizon is not a warship, and we have no hostile intentions. We're scientists and explorers." The alien's plates shifted again. "I am Admiral Skater of the Galactic Confluence. Your arrival was unexpected. Our observations of your species suggested a different approach." "What observations?" Elena asked, careful to keep her tone neutral. "We have been monitoring your transmissions for decades," Admiral Skater explained. "Your entertainment programs, your historical archives, your military exercises. All evidence pointed to an expansionist species that would arrive with overwhelming force." Understanding dawned on Elena. "You've been watching our fiction, our entertainment. Stories aren't reality, Admiral. Many of our tales imagine conflict because it creates drama, but they don't reflect our actual policies or intentions." The alien conferred with others off-screen, their clicks and whistles untranslated. When Skator turned back, his plates had settled into a more uniform pattern. "This claim requires verification. We request permission to scan your vessel." Elena considered this. A scan would reveal their minimal armaments and scientific focus, which could help prove their peaceful intentions. On the other hand, it would also expose potential vulnerabilities. We agree to your scan, Admiral, Elena decided. But I also propose a diplomatic meeting to clear up this misunderstanding. I would be happy to come aboard your vessel with a small delegation. The aliens waited for a fleet, but one human ship was all it took. Part 1. First Contact and Misunderstanding. The ESS Horizon drifted silently through the void, its sleek form barely visible against the backdrop of distant stars. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the massive viewscreen that dominated the forward wall. The Horizon had been dispatched as humanity's vanguard into this unexplored sector of space, carrying scientists and explorers rather than soldiers. Dropping out of FTL in 3, 2, 1, announced Navigator Kai Chen, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface before him. The stars blurred as the ship's exotic matter drive disengaged, returning them to normal space with a gentle shudder. Elena's breath caught in her throat as the viewscreen adjusted to reveal what waited for them. "My God," whispered Dr. Amara Singh, the chief cynobiologist. That's a lot of ships." Spread before them, in an intimidating formation, were hundreds of vessels of varying sizes and designs. Some gleamed like polished metal, while others seemed to absorb light, creating dark silhouettes against the stars. The formation was unmistakably defensive, or perhaps offensive. "Tactical assessment," Elena demanded, her voice steady despite the sudden acceleration of her pulse. Lieutenant Commander Darrell Washington responded immediately from his station. "I count at least 7 different ship designs, Captain. Varying energy signatures. All of them appear to be military vessels, and all of them outgun us significantly." He paused. "Their weapons are powered but not targeting us. Yet." Elena nodded, processing this information. The Horizon was primarily a research vessel with limited defensive capabilities. It had been designed for scientific exploration, not warfare. If these aliens decided to attack, there would be little they could do. "Are they communicating?" she asked the communications officer. Ensign Jabari Okafor adjusted his neural interface. "They're transmitting something, Captain. The AI is working on translation. I think it's a greeting, or possibly a warning." "Put it through," Elena ordered. The view screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It had a vaguely crustacean appearance with 4 compound eyes set around a central structure that might have been a mouth. Iridescent plates covered what was visible of its body, shifting colors as it moved. "Unidentified vessel," came the translated voice, the AI doing its best to match the alien's speech patterns. "You have entered protected space. Identify yourselves, and state your purpose. Where is the rest of your fleet?" Elena straightened her uniform and stepped forward. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Science Ship Horizon. We are an exploration vessel on a peaceful mission of discovery. We have no fleet." There was a pause as the translation went through. The alien's plates shifted rapidly, displaying patterns that might have indicated confusion. "No fleet," the alien repeated. "Our intelligence indicates humans always travel in battle groups for invasion purposes. You claim to be alone." Elena exchanged a puzzled glance with her first officer, Commander Marcus Wong. "We are alone. The Horizon is not a warship, and we have no hostile intentions. We're scientists and explorers." The alien's plates shifted again. "I am Admiral Skitter of the Galactic Confluence. Your arrival was unexpected. Our observations of your species suggested a different approach." "What observations?" Elena asked, careful to keep her tone neutral. "We have been monitoring your transmissions for decades," Admiral Skitter explained. "Your entertainment programs, your historical archives, your military exercises. All evidence pointed to an expansionist species that would arrive with overwhelming force." Understanding dawned on Elena. "You've been watching our fiction, our entertainment. Stories aren't reality, Admiral. Many of our tales imagine conflict because it creates drama. but they don't reflect our actual policies or intentions. The alien conferred with others off-screen, their clicks and whistles untranslated. When Skitor turned back, his plates had settled into a more uniform pattern. This claim requires verification. We request permission to scan your vessel. Elena considered this. A scan would reveal their minimal armaments and scientific focus, which could help prove their peaceful intentions. On the other hand, it would also expose potential vulnerabilities. We agree to your scan, Admiral, Elena decided. But I also propose a diplomatic meeting to clear up this misunderstanding. I would be happy to come aboard your vessel with a small delegation. After another conference off-screen, the alien agreed. You may bring 3 representatives. Your ship will remain in its current position, surrounded by our patrol vessels. As the communication ended, the bridge erupted into hushed conversations. Captain, is this wise? Marcus asked quietly, standing close to her. We know nothing about these aliens. They clearly expected a war. Elena met his concerned gaze. If we run, we confirm their fears. This might be our only chance to prevent a conflict before it starts. She tapped her comm badge. Dr. Singh, prepare for first contact. Commander Washington, you're with us as well. We depart in 30 minutes. The shuttle journey to the alien flagship was tense. Elena used the time to brief her team on diplomatic protocols and contingencies. Dr. Singh was visibly excited despite the danger, already making notes about the alien physiology they had observed. Remember, Elena told them as they approached the massive alien vessel, we represent not just the horizon, but all of humanity. Our actions here may determine the course of human-alien relations for generations. The docking bay that swallowed their shuttle was enormous, easily 10 times the size necessary for their small craft. Elena recognized it as another intimidation tactic. As they disembarked, they were met by a delegation of aliens, not just the crustacean-like beings, but representatives from what appeared to be at least 4 different species. Welcome aboard the Confluence vessel Immutable Justice, said a translator device carried by one of the smaller aliens. Please follow. They were led through corridors lined with armed guards of various species. Elena noted that while weapons were visible, none were drawn, a promising sign. Eventually, they arrived at a large circular chamber where 7 different aliens sat at a round table. Admiral Skur was easily identifiable. Captain Rice, take your seats, he said, indicating 3 chairs that were noticeably lower than the rest. Another psychological tactic. Thank you for this opportunity to meet, Elena began, choosing to ignore the chair height discrepancy. There seems to be a significant misunderstanding about human intentions that we hope to clarify. A bulbous alien with tentacle-like appendages pulsed slightly, its skin changing from green to orange. Your military exercises, your technological development patterns, all point to preparation for galactic conquest. May I ask which specific transmissions you've been monitoring? Elena asked. A holographic display appeared in the center of the table, showing clips that the humans immediately recognized as science fiction programs. Scenes from popular space operas, movies about alien invasions, and military science fiction shows played one after another. Here you plot the conquest of multiple star systems, said a crystalline being, pointing to a clip from a fictional strategic space game. And here your leaders discuss the annihilation of alien species. Dr. Singh couldn't suppress a small laugh, quickly composing herself when she saw the aliens' reactions. I understand the confusion now, she explained. What you're seeing are works of fiction, entertainment for our people. These aren't real events or plans. Entertainment. Skitter's plates darkened. You find joy in the thought of war and conquest. Not exactly, Dr. Singh responded. Humans use storytelling to explore ideas, fears, and possibilities. Many of our stories involve conflict because it creates drama, but they don't reflect our actual intentions or policies. The meeting continued for hours as the humans tried to explain the concept of fiction to the alien council. Progress seemed painfully slow until an urgent communication interrupted them. Admiral, said an alien officer who had entered the chamber. "The Vicari contingent has broken formation and is moving to engage the human vessel." The main display switched to a tactical view of space outside. 3 alien warships had surrounded the horizon and appeared to be charging weapons. "Explain this," Elena demanded, turning to Skitter with fire in her eyes. The Admiral's plates had turned a deep blue. "This is not by my order," he said. "The Vicari have always been the most aggressive among us." On the screen, the horizon executed a tight spiral maneuver, narrowly avoiding a concentrated beam that would have cut through its hull. The human vessel then dived beneath one of the attacking ships, using the attacker's bulk as a shield against the others. "Your ship should have been destroyed instantly," Skitter said, watching with apparent fascination. "Our pilot Chen is the best in the fleet," Elena replied calmly, though her heart raced as she watched her ship and crew fighting for their lives. "And our engineer Ortiz modified our shields specifically for exploration in unknown conditions." Another explosion rocked the vicinity as the horizon narrowly avoided collision with one of the attacking vessels. The human ship spun on its axis, using its thrusters to slide sideways in a maneuver that seemed to defy physics. "Captain, we can't keep this up forever," came Commander Wang's voice through her communicator. "Shields at 63% and dropping." Elena's mind raced through options. The horizon carried only defensive weapons, point defense systems designed to destroy asteroids and space debris, not to engage other ships. They were hopelessly outgunned. "Order your vessel to return fire," suggested Skur, his voice surprisingly gentle. It would be justified under these circumstances. All eyes in the room turned to Elena. She understood what this moment meant, how her response would shake these aliens' perception of humanity. "No," Elena said firmly, standing tall. "We won't escalate this. The horizon will continue evasive maneuvers, but will not fire upon your ships." She turned to face Skater directly. "I trust you to help end this attack, Admiral. Show us that the Confluence values peace as much as we do." For several long seconds, Skeeter stared at her, his alien features unreadable to human eyes. Then he moved to a console on the wall and began issuing rapid commands. On the screen, 2 larger ships moved to position themselves between the horizon and its attackers. Skeeter's voice boomed through the communication system. "This is Admiral Skeeter of the Galactic Confluence. Stand down immediately. The human vessel is under my protection by authority of the Council." The attacking ships hesitated, continuing to circle, but no longer firing. "The humans have submitted to inspection and have agreed to share information," Skeeter continued. "This attack is unauthorized and violates Confluence protocols. Stand down now or face disciplinary action." Slowly, reluctantly, the attacking ships powered down their weapon systems. One by one, they turned away from the horizon and rejoined the main fleet formation. Elena exhaled slowly, her shoulders relaxing slightly. "Thank you, Admiral." Skir's plates shifted to a more neutral color. "Do not thank me yet, Captain. The Vicari will demand answers, as will others. This incident has complicated matters." "Commander Wang, status report," Elena said into her communicator. "Shields holding at 48%. Minor damage to the outer hull. No casualties," came the reply. "Chen sends his regards and asks if you enjoyed the show." Despite the tension, Elena allowed herself a small smile. "Tell him his flying was exemplary. Maintain current position and continue repairs. We'll continue our discussions here." The bear-like alien growled something that the translator converted as, "Why did your ship not fight back?" It had opportunities to target engines or weapon systems of the attackers. "Because that's not why we're here," Elena answered simply. "We came to explore and understand, not to fight." "Even when attacked?" asked the bulbous alien, its tentacles waving in what might have been confusion. "Especially when attacked," Dr. Singh interjected. "Anyone can respond to violence with more violence. It takes strength to choose a different path." As the meeting continued, Elena noticed a subtle shift in the room's atmosphere. The aliens were watching them with what appeared to be a new kind of interest, perhaps even respect. Trust had been damaged by the attack, certainly, but so had the confluence's certainty about human aggression. Perhaps, Alina said carefully, this incident offers us an opportunity. You've seen that we choose peace even when attacked. Now let us show you why we explore, what we hope to learn, and how we might work together rather than against each other. The aliens were listening now, their postures less rigid, their questions more curious than accusatory. It wasn't much, but it was a beginning. A small step toward understanding between vastly different species, united only by their shared existence in the same universe. Crisis and resolution. The next 12 hours aboard the Confluence flagship were filled with cautious diplomatic progress. Though suspicion hadn't fully dissipated, Alina's team had managed to convince the Alien Council to permit an inspection of the horizon. A gesture of transparency, it had visibly impressed several of the more moderate council members. As the small delegation of alien representatives prepared to board shuttles for the inspection, an urgent alert sounded throughout the flagship. Displays across the command center flashed with warning signals. "What's happening?" Alina asked, turning to Admiral Skitter. The Admiral's plates had shifted to a deep purple, a color they hadn't seen before. "A spatial anomaly has appeared at the edge of this system," he explained, his translator struggling to convey the complex technical terms. "It's expanding rapidly." The main display showed a swirling mass of energy forming near a small star. Even to Alina's untrained eye, the phenomenon looked dangerous, its edges pulsing with chaotic energy. "May I contact my ship?" she asked. When Skitter nodded, she activated her communicator. "Horizon, this is the captain. We're seeing some kind of spatial disturbance on the confluence sensors. Are you tracking it?" "Affirmative, Captain," responded Science Officer Liang Wei. "It appeared approximately 20 minutes ago and has grown by 47% since our initial detection. Our preliminary analysis suggests it's some kind of rift in spacetime." "A rift," Alina repeated, glancing at the Alien Council members who were conferring urgently among themselves. "Yes, Captain," White continued. "And based on its current rate of expansion, it will reach the nearest inhabited systems within 36 hours, including the horizon's position." The crystalline Alien Council member, who had introduced itself as Prisma, approached the display. "The anomaly is on a direct path toward the Vicari colony in the Helix system," it announced, its faceted body refracting light as it moved. 4 million inhabitants. Alina studied the projection models. "And if it continues expanding, it will eventually reach human space as well," she observed. "It threatens all of us." The council chamber erupted into arguments, each species debating responses in their own languages. Alina watched them carefully, noting the factions forming, some advocating immediate evacuation, others suggesting more drastic measures. "Admiral," Alina said, addressing Skitter directly while the others argued, "the Horizon carries advanced scientific equipment that could help study this phenomenon. I propose a joint mission. Our science team has experience with spatial anomalies, and your vessels have greater defensive capabilities." Skir's plates shifted through various colors as he considered her words. "You would share your findings?" he asked. "Of course," Alina replied without hesitation. "This affects all of us. And if your mysterious fleet arrives during this mission," pressed Skitter. Alina met his compound eyes steadily. "Admiral, by now you've had full access to our communications logs. You know we've sent no messages calling for reinforcements. There is no fleet, just us." After lengthy deliberations, the Confluence Council reluctantly agreed to a joint mission. The Horizon would lead the scientific investigation, accompanied by 3 Confluence vessels for protection, and, Alina suspected, to keep watch for any sign of the non-existent human armada. Aboard the Horizon, Chief Engineer Maria Ortiz approached Alina privately. "Captain, I've been analyzing the data on the anomaly," she said, her expression grave. "If this rift is what I think it is, our standard shields won't be enough protection for close study." "What do you need?" Alina asked directly. I have a theoretical modification for our shield harmonics that might work, but it's untested, Ortiz explained. The equations check out, but someone will need to manually calibrate the shield matrix during exposure. How dangerous? Ortiz didn't sugarcoat it. For the ship, minimal risk. For the person performing the calibration, high radiation exposure at minimum. Potentially fatal. Elena nodded slowly. Draft your plans, Maria. Let's hope we don't need them. The small fleet approached the anomaly cautiously. As they drew closer, the swirling vortex grew visibly larger on their view screens. Sensor readings from both human and alien vessels confirmed the worst fears. The rift was expanding exponentially, and its energy signature was becoming increasingly unstable. That's not just a spatial distortion, Dr. Singh reported from her science station. We're detecting temporal energy signatures as well. It's a tear in spacetime, and it's bleeding chronometric particles into normal space. Can we seal it? Elena asked. Dr. Singh exchanged glances with Science Officer Wei. Theoretically, a precisely modulated energy pulse might collapse the rift, but we'd need to get dangerously close to the event horizon. Our shields won't hold at that distance. Chief Engineer Ortiz stepped forward. Unless we implement my modifications, Captain. I've reviewed the calculations with Lieutenant Chandra. It could work. Elena studied the schematics on the display. The manual calibration would have to be done from the auxiliary shield control room, Ortiz confirmed. It's the most heavily shielded compartment, but still. Elena nodded grimly. I'll do it. Captain. No, Commander Wong protested immediately. Protocol clearly states. I'm aware of protocol, Marcus. Elena cut him off. But this is first contact. We need our xenobiologists and scientists to maintain communication with the confluence, and I won't order anyone else into that level of danger. Before further arguments could be made, a communication came in from the confluence flagship. Admiral Skitter's image appeared on screen, his plates a turbulent mixture of colors. Captain Rice, our scientists have reached a conclusion, he announced. The anomaly cannot be contained. We must evacuate all systems in its path and form a quarantine perimeter. Admiral, we have another option. Elena countered. A targeted energy pulse could collapse the rift, but we need to get closer than your vessels can safely approach. The Horizon's modified shields might withstand the radiation long enough to deliver the pulse. Skir's plates stilled. You would risk your vessel and crew to save millions of lives. Yes, Elena answered without hesitation. After a brief conference, the confluence agreed to the plan. The Horizon would approach the anomaly while the alien vessels maintained position at a safe distance, ready to retrieve the human ship if the plan succeeded, or to escape if it failed catastrophically. Preparations moved quickly. As Elena made her way to the auxiliary shield control room, she was surprised to find Skitter waiting for her in the corridor. Admiral, she questioned, stopping short. How did you get aboard? I came with the science delegation, he explained, his translator device rendering his clicks into smooth speech. I wish to observe your crew's methods firsthand. Elena nodded, continuing toward her destination. And what have you observed? That everything you claimed appears to be true, Skitter admitted, his plates shifting to a bluish hue. Your vessel carries minimal weapons. Your databases contain star charts and scientific research, not invasion plans. Your crew speaks of exploration with genuine passion. Yet you still doubt us, Elena noted as they reached the shield control room. It is difficult to overcome decades of certainty, Skitter replied. We were so convinced that humanity would arrive as conquerors that we formed an alliance of 7 species specifically to resist you. Now you arrive with one ship and offer to sacrifice yourselves to save our colonies. Elena smiled slightly as she began initializing the shield modifications. That's what exploration is about, Admiral. Not conquest, but connection. Finding ways to understand the universe and each other. As the horizon moved closer to the anomaly, the ship began to shake. Warning alarms sounded as the rift's radiation bombarded their shields. "Shields at 89% and holding," reported Lieutenant Chandra from the bridge, his voice coming through the comm system. "Anomaly's event horizon in range in 3 minutes." Elena worked swiftly, adjusting the shield harmonics as Ortiz had instructed. Each adjustment required precise timing as radiation levels in the small compartment began to rise. "Captain, your radiation exposure is approaching dangerous levels," the ship's medical eye warned. "Recommend immediate evacuation of the shield control room." "Not yet," Elena muttered, continuing her work. "Just a few more calibrations." To her surprise, Skeeter moved beside her, his alien appendages helping to adjust controls. "Your translator can't possibly be explaining these equations to you," Elena said, glancing at him. "I was a science officer before I became admiral," Skeeter explained. "Some principles are universal." Together, they completed the shield modifications just as the horizon reached optimal firing position. "Energy pulse ready," announced Science Officer Wei from the bridge. "Awaiting your command, Captain." "Fire," Elena ordered. The horizon shuddered as it released a concentrated beam of energy directly into the heart of the spatial rift. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. Then the anomaly began to contract, its swirling energies folding inward. "It's working," Wei exclaimed. "The rift is collapsing." But as the anomaly shrank, it released a massive wave of chronometric particles. The horizon rocked violently as the energy wave struck it broadside. "Shields failing," shouted Chandra. "Hull breach on deck 4. In the shield control room, Elena was thrown against a bulkhead as systems overloaded around her. Through blurring vision, she saw Skeeter moving to reinforce the failing shield grid, his body blocking her from a burst of radiation that flooded the compartment. "Why?" she managed to ask as consciousness began to fade. "Because I was wrong," the alien admiral replied simply. Elena awoke 3 days later in the horizon's medical bay, Dr. Yo hovering over her with a medical scanner. "Radiation poisoning," the doctor explained when he saw her questioning look. "We've treated the worst of it, but you'll need time to recover completely." "The rift?" Elena asked, her voice raspy. "Completely collapsed," Dr. Yo confirmed with a smile. "You did it, Captain." "Admiral Skeeter." Dr. Yo's expression sobered. "Their physiology is different from ours. The radiation affected him differently. The Confluence medical team is treating him aboard their flagship." When Elena was strong enough to stand, she requested permission to visit the admiral. The Confluence granted it immediately, sending an honor guard to escort her, a dramatic change from her first visit. She found Skeeter in the alien equivalent of the medical chamber, his normally colorful plates now a pale, muted gray. He stirred as she entered, his compound eyes focusing on her. "Captain Reyes." He greeted her, the translator conveying a weakened but clear voice. "You recovered quickly." "Humans are resilient," she replied, taking the seat beside his recovery platform. "How are you?" "I will survive," Skeeter assured her, though perhaps with slightly less chromatic range in my plates. Elena smiled at what appeared to be an alien attempt at humor. "I wanted to thank you." "No thanks are necessary. You risked everything to save not only your people but ours as well." Skeeter's plates shifted slightly, showing hints of their former color. "The council has been in session continuously since the incident. There has been much debate about humanity." "And what conclusion have they reached?" Elena asked. "That we were profoundly wrong," Skeeter admitted. "We mistook your stories for your nature. We prepared for conquerors and instead found explorers willing to sacrifice themselves for strangers." The admiral shifted, raising himself slightly higher. "The council has voted unanimously to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. We would like the Horizon to carry our representatives back to your home world." Elena couldn't hide her surprise or her pleasure. "We would be honored, Admiral." "There is more," Skeeter continued. "The Confluence was formed to defend against what we thought humanity would be. Now we wish to repurpose our alliance, to explore alongside you instead of opposing you." As Elena prepared to return to the horizon, Admiral Skidder called out to her one last time. "Captain Rice, there is something I still do not understand. When you encountered our fleet, when you faced our weapons, you could have fled. You had every reason to fear us. Why did you stay?" Elena considered the question carefully. "Because the unknown isn't something to fear, Admiral. It's something to understand. That's what exploration truly means." As the Horizon departed Confluent space 2 weeks later, it carried not only its original crew of explorers, but also the first alien ambassadors ever to visit Earth. Elena stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak by on the view screen. "Set course for home, Navigator Chen," she ordered with a smile. "We have quite a story to tell." The stars blurred as the Horizon leaped to FTL, carrying with it the promise of a new era, one where humanity had proven itself not through force of arms, but through courage, compassion, and an unyielding spirit of discovery.